Action. The one, the only.
In the life with Steve Stanulis. In the life with Steve Stanulis. In the life with Steve Stanulis. In the life with Steve Stanulis.
In the Life with Steve Stanulis, I'm Steve Stanulis. We again are at an amazing venue. We are at the DL, which is at the Lansing Ludlow, which is probably one of the top spots in the Lower East Side, and one of my favorite places tonight. I'm so grateful to be here. We have an amazing show tonight, and we're going to start right off the bat with a dear friend of mine. He was a Sopranos regular, probably had one of the biggest whacks in the history of Sopranos, my dear friend John Bianco. Let's get it up for Johnny. Actually sounds pretty good. That sounds pretty fucking good,
That was
right?
a nice little intro.
It's actually really good.
Yeah, I like that.
What's going on?
Well, you know, just a couple of things. I'm real happy to be on your show.
Yes, I've been trying to get you on since the inception, and
Since the inception.
I've been trying to get you, and it's been a little tough.
And, you know, finally I'm here.
We are here. Now, before we start I want to go through a whole series of things with you. Because, you know, so a lot of people don't notice, we have a 20-year relationship. Not physically, but 20-year relationship.
Because you got me nervous right now.
Well,
And my girlfriend may have something else to say.
well, I mean, I didn't want to come out on the air, but
No pun intended.
No pun
You don't want
intended.
to come out on the air.
exactly. About 20 years ago, we both started dancing at Chippendales. And, well, you were actually on the circuit, and I was just starting out. I was 18 years old.
That's right.
And Johnny was like already established. He had hair down to here. And
It was actually down to
It
here.
was actually down to there. It really was. And the first time I ever started dancing, the first time I was going to come out, I was actually supposed to MC. Which, basically, for everybody who don't know out there, what MCing is, I was the guy on the microphone that was going to bring you through the whole show. So I was all nervous, and I had like an outfit on. I thought I looked good. So as I was ready to go on, a minute before, John goes to me, what did you say?
So he's getting ready, you know, and I got some of the guys in the background and stuff, and I said to one, you know, some of the guys, I go, watch what I say to this guy. So he's looking in the mirror, he's looking good. I go, so Steve, are you, is that your outfit? Is that what you're going out with?
Yeah.
And he looked at me like, what do you mean? Yeah, I'm ready. I go, oh, no, it's all right. So yeah, you look good. Go ahead. It's good. No, fine, you're all right.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it, yeah.
And it totally wrecked me, because I'm like, why, you don't like what I'm wearing? And I didn't want to go out, remember?
Yeah, that was great.
So yeah, so we've been, you know, we met like 1990.
Yeah, it's probably, it's like 23 years ago.
23 years ago, and he danced under Johnny Rotten.
Johnny Rotten, like a rotten apple.
Johnny Rotten, and I was Steve Savage.
Johnny Rotten, yeah, because is it Johnny Rocket or is it Johnny Rotten?
Right, it's Johnny Rotten.
I said Johnny Rotten, like, you know, like a rotten apple, and, you know, the guy from the Sex Pistols, but...
Right, that's what everybody
You know,
thinks
as-
of Johnny
as,
Rotten.
as-
I'll probably be dating myself right now.
Well,
but
that's what I'm saying. As the years have gone on, people, like, you know...
nobody knows who Johnny
Who
Rotten
the fuck is Johnny Rotten?
Exactly. So
So-
that was kind of a weird name.
It was a weird
I
name.
want to tell you that now. I didn't back then. I thought it. I never said it to you.
Yeah, it was a
It
little...
wasn't really a sexy name.
It was edgy.
Yeah, but it's like, ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it for Johnny Rotten.
Yeah, but it was edgy.
You know what I mean? It was like Johnny Long John or Johnny
And
Johnny
the
Fox.
funny thing is like, I don't, you know, one other guy that I danced with like maybe once or twice, he just said, you know, one of the first times I danced, he goes, you know what, you should be called Johnny Rotten. And I was like, yeah, what the hell, you know.
Did you have a different name prior?
No, that was it. It was just,
I mean, did you
just
come
Johnny.
out like
Just came out Johnny.
I was gonna be Stephen Lords.
Stephen Lawrence, that's
That
it.
was the name I picked. I sounded like a gay porn star.
That could be problems, yeah, you could have some issues with that name.
Yeah. So then I was like, the guy's like, well, Steve Savage. I'm like, yes.
That works, yeah.
It worked.
Yeah, we
Because it
are
was sexy but savage.
23 years later. And
23 years, I'm still fucking milking that
Steve
shit.
Savage, yeah.
I know. More people know me as Steve Savage.
That's, yeah.
In fact, when I was a
Well,
cop,
people, you know, some of the guys that we're still friends with, some of the dancers, they got me on the phone, Johnny Rotten. You know?
right. When I was a cop, and people used to get pulled over, and they would say, "I know Steve Savage." The cop would like, "If you know him, what's his real name?"
Yeah, what's his real? Well, that's
Yeah.
Steve Savage. I know it starts with an S. Something.
Yeah, something like that.
Stan, Sue, Stan,
Yeah.
something.
So,
yeah.
but yeah, so Johnny actually was, you know, when we were dancing, you were like one of my mentors, bro. You know, I mean, like
Well, I don't want to toot my own horn, but I was pretty fucking
No, you-
sexy. I was pretty good. You know?
No, I gotta be honest. No, listen.
I mean, I still
I
look
gotta be
halfway
listen.
decent right now, but
Listen, I gotta be honest. Like, you know, Johnny had like, a lot of guys were like either had good physiques or were good looking but couldn't dance, or weren't that great looking and could dance but didn't have good physiques. John, you know, you had the whole package.
yeah, I had that.
No pun intended.
You know. Are you like trying to come out now?
No, I don't know. No, just it kind of works.
'Cause I think I'm gonna like shift over a bit.
No. So, but yeah, so that's how we met.
Yeah.
And then John, you're always actually in the whole acting thing, and
Yeah.
I never really cared about it.
Yeah.
And then, you know, as time went on, I kind of got into it as well. And then we did our first short film, 1997. Was it 97?
Yeah, 90.
No, 2007.
2007.
97.
Again, he's
2007.
going back.
Right, and Dick and Jane.
Dick and Jane, that's right.
And we had a lot of fun on that.
Yeah. You came to me with an idea. You wanted to do something bizarre.
I did.
With this guy, you know, you wanted to do something, and then I wanted to turn in the story.
Well, what happened was we had, again, you know, it's edited so we could edit shit if we didn't like it. I had friends that also were dancers, but were fucking gay for pay. And they would have...
These
well,
people
listen,
don't know these terms.
well, for all those gay... people that know what gay for pay is, it's basically
hell
just
is that?
straight dudes that'll do things for money. And I had these two guys...
That's pretty questionable.
Two guys that used to dance, real fucking big guys, and they would like, people would pay them to do crazy shit. And like, you know, one guy would pay, my friend was like Byron, he was like 250 pounds jacked, and this guy would pay him to step on his face, and it was crazy. And he was, but he would tell, listen, he would tell me all these crazy stories, and you know, all these crazy, and I wanted to do a movie based on all these crazy stories.
Right, that's how it started.
That's how it started.
Right. You wanted to do a movie based on
Getting my face stepped on.
this guy that was I think
I'm
you
not.
wanted to. Oh, you right? Okay, I get it now. So you wanted to be the guy doing the fucked up shit to people.
Right, because those were all great stories.
That's a great concept for a movie, isn't it?
Yeah.
So
we came up with Dick and Jane.
Yeah. So then I said, let's turn it around so that certain things are being done to you.
Right.
That your wife doesn't know about it, and then the flip side is you don't know that, you know, because she's kind of left out in the cold all the time. She's actually turning tricks,
Right, as well.
and you don't know about her, you know. thing
And
that's
I
going
got to be honest, that was our first. We was a short, and that
Yeah.
won the New York Underground Film Festival.
Yeah, actually, Anthony, my good friend Anthony Gerace, he said that you recently put it on Facebook. Or
You did.
no, just
YouTube.
recently.
No, you did, and I put it on Facebook. Oh, wait, no, you're right. You're right, dude. I put it on
An Abbott and
Facebook.
Costello
Right.
routine.
You put
Who's
it on
on
YouTube.
first?
No, you put it on YouTube, and I found it.
You said I was alright spy.
Right, and then I put it on Facebook. Right, you're right. I did.
That's what he goes. Steve just posted Dick and Jane. I was like, all right, that's.
Yeah, no, I didn't know you.
And
put
then
it
they're
on.
like, isn't that the Jim Carrey movie? And I'm like, no, that's fun with Dick and
Right,
Jane.
this is just Dick and Jane. Right, and then we did the second thing we did was because of you,
Because of you. was
where I had another idea.
They're
and
all dark stories.
They're all dark, and my daughter has cancer,
Right.
and I'm a degenerate gambler.
Right. That's
And
right.
I end up killing myself. It was a comedy, you like
It
comedy.
was a light comedy, right? He winds up killing him. He winds up killing him. You wonder what goes on in my head. I wrote this stuff too.
It's a light comedy.
No, really, I'm a normal guy. So he winds up killing himself, and it makes it look like someone murdered him, so his wife would get the money, so that the kid could, continue to have the medical attention that she needs to survive.
Right.
So
that was
it's-
a great, and again, that got accepted to a lot of
That
festivals.
was also a very interesting.
that was one of my
good.
favorites.
Yeah, no, that's good. That's good.
But yeah, so we're gonna take a 2-minute break, and we're gonna come back and we're gonna talk about your time on The Sopranos,
Right.
your famous killing, maybe get some dirt on the cast,
I'll give you some dirt on, on my stuff.
on your stuff, and maybe we'll talk about it, getting the Feeney and all that stuff.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll be back in 2 minutes, 2 seconds. We're in the live with Steve Stanulis. We'll be right back.
Action. The one, the only.
And the life with Steve Stanulis.
That's awesome.
Oh yeah, I mean this is great. You know,
We have a pretty audience.
I'm glad I came out tonight, Steve.
Yes. You missed the DJ. I have a DJ coming next week. Yeah, what are you gonna do?
What are you gonna do?
But before we go any further about The Sopranos, I just want to go forward, and I want the audience out there in the TV land to check out the clip. We're gonna check out the clip of when you get whacked.
When I get whacked, yeah.
All due respect, he's a great guy, Doc, but boss material.
Important things, we all work together. Whoever winds up in the driver's seat.
Phil, though, I'll never get it. The man was my mentor. It was right there for the taking.
It's hard, Jerry. What's he gonna do?
That's my point, though. What you just said. Johnny goes away, it's Phil's turn in the driver's seat, and his heart gives out.
Right.
His heart.
I know. What?
It's a metaphor. He lost his balls, is what I'm saying.
Let's say it then. Walt fucking Whitman over here.
Okay.
Ladies.
Hey,
You all
how you
right?
doing?
Should we get some more wine?
This fucking waiter on sabbatical.
What's the name of that Sangiovese? We had a Quattro Gatti. Tonight you... Let's go.
So tell us. So
That
you know,
was like
we'll
a
get.
fast motion clip. That looked great, man.
You like that?
Yeah.
That was actually pretty intense.
I like
I was fine. I was nervous for you.
Great. I was actually reliving
So-
that whole thing.
So before we get go any further into that scene, let's talk about the whole process of getting on The Sopranos and what that entailed and how that whole process went.
That was a painful process, actually.
Do tell.
Well, I guess long story short, I read for the show probably 10 times actually before I actually booked the role. And it was probably after like the 6th or 7th time that I told my manager, I said, listen, you know, I'm not getting on the show, you know, so I think that it just don't like me, something, you know, so I didn't want to go back, you know. And she said, no, just stick it out. They wouldn't keep calling you back. And even the casting agent, Georgiana Walken,
Right.
who's really tough on people.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, I've heard her just rip people apart. People came out of the casting room just, you know, like numb looking. So, and she said to me several times, you know, I don't know why they haven't put you on.
Right, just call it.
We need that red light out there saying filming.
I hope you're rolling this. This is great.
That's great.
So
We need the.
Now you're coming in now.
so
Settled?
is everybody settled in?
Take your coats off. Stay a while.
What, are you comfortable? You want to go pee?
Would anybody like to join me on the couch here? Is it
Not you!
So
a co-guest or something?
So tell us about the whole Sopranos. Your whole process of being on Soprano.
So, yeah, as I was saying, you know, I thought that after about 6 or 7 times, they just didn't like me. And as I was talking about Georgiana Walken, you know, she even said to me at one point, I swear that wasn't me.
Did I mention to you that we're going to have a DJ next week?
I mean, that sounded, you know, I was on a cruise last week, and it sounded like we were just leaving it. I just had a flashback of swimming with the dolphins or something.
So going back to the whole Sopranos.
So Georgiana Walken.
Georgiana Walken, we've heard of her.
She's crazy, but so she's like, listen, John, to be honest with you, I don't know why they haven't gone with you on anything yet.
Right.
So at that point, I said to my manager, I said, listen, you know, maybe they just don't like me. And she's like, no, they wouldn't keep calling you back. So anyway, the 10th time, I finally get up there, and I get a call back again, and I read for a character of, I forget the guy's name, but he's the guy with the glasses.
Right.
When I left, as I'm driving home, my phone rings and she's like, "You booked it." She's like, "But not the guy with the glasses, another part, Gerry Torciano." So, which another guy read for, and then they wound up swapping.
Right.
You know, he got the role of that guy, and I got the Gerry Torciano role. So, you know, I was like, that was awesome. You know, so I get to the first table read, and I said to Terrence Winter, I said, "Terrence, I have to ask you this question.
Right.
You know, 10 times I've been up here. You know, I didn't want to come back." I said, what was the deal? He's like, "John, listen," he goes, "if we didn't like you, we wouldn't have wanted to keep seeing you." He said, "So, we did like you, but we just were waiting for that perfect role that we thought you were exactly right for." And I said, "Listen, you know," and he said, "We thought you were, you know, a very good actor, and we wanted you on the show." Like I said, it was just a matter of time. So that's how I got it. And then
Now they had you blonde, right?
now they had me. Yeah, this was David Chase's idea, and I didn't know about this.
You
And
know,
I'm
you
like,
know.
I thought I was going to be wearing a wig.
I gotta be honest with you. I can see with a lot of different hairstyles, blonde is not one of them.
Yeah, I'm like, come on, you know, I'm Sicilian, you know, I'm gonna have blonde hair, and he wanted this whole like surfer California gangster. And again, David Chase is just, I mean, he's out there, he's a brilliant guy and all, but he does these crazy weird things.
So now, obviously, another funny story is I auditioned for The Sopranos, and I actually got a role, but not as intense as as extensive as yours, but my first day,
Yes,
I remember seeing you.
Yeah,
And
I
you were all
was-
dappered up.
Yeah, we broke for lunch, and
Yes.
and I said, was that Steve Savage walking? I didn't say Steve Savage.
You didn't say sad, right? You
I
said
said
Steve Savage.
I said I thought I was seeing
That's the
things.
fucking
you know, we're
stripper,
down
dude.
at-
That's the fucking
yeah.
stripper, dude. That's fucking.
So we're down at Silver Cup Studios, and I just saw Steve walking, and then he's like, "Oh, John," you know, and I had
Yeah.
on this, you know, black suit with you know, the white collars, the cuffs, and all that and stuff, and it was a great. It was a
Yeah,
great
it was a
one.
lot of fun. But so who's? I mean.
Well, here's
again,
the thing, though. Now, the thing with this, and nobody knows about this, is so I finally get on the show, and after the second episode, while I'm waiting for the table read to get in for the second episode, pretty much this guy comes over to me and he sits down next to me and he's like, "Oh, I'm excited, you know, I finally got to get on the show. I get to kill this guy, Gerry."
Is that how you figured out you were getting killed?
The first time, yeah, and I look at him, I'm like, "Does that say Gerry Torciano?" And he's like, "Yeah." He goes, "Don't tell me you're Gerry Torciano." And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm Gerry Torciano." And so I didn't know about it, so I was pissed. So now here I am getting killed on the second episode after it took me 3 years to get on the show. And I called my manager. I went into the table read and I was like completely pissed. And I was, you know, whatever, you know. And she's like, "Just listen, John, you got on the show." Anyway, long story short, we shot the whole scene. I get killed. 4 weeks later, she gets a call. They're deleting. They're not going to show that. He wants to keep you on as a recurring character. And then I had gone on to do the last 2 seasons. I did 10 episodes and complete. So
Now, getting off topic with that, I mean, I can answer some of those questions myself, but so the crowd out there, all our viewers in the that watch in TV land, what is it, 50, 60,000? Tell them about who you now.
tell them about what? Spit it out.
I'm like my full Johnny Walker.
Have another drink. I'm like,
Tell them
tell
basically
them about what?
the cast. Who in the cast is like
Who in the
like
cast?
Michael Imperioli.
Michael
Great
Pitt-
guy,
yeah,
super
he's great.
quiet, real weird.
Well,
Nice guy. He's just a little. He's a
but
little
people
laid back.
don't know that.
No, that's what I'm saying.
You know,
Who?
he's a great actor.
No, he's a great actor.
No,
I'm
no.
saying-
What I'm saying is, you wouldn't think that he's a quiet,
No, right.
guy.
So who surprised you the most backstage? Was it James Gandolfini?
probably
Was it
he
Michael
did.
Imperioli?
Yeah, probably Michael Imperioli, because he's so laid back and quiet, and he
He's
doesn't.
almost
say-
eccentric.
Yeah, he doesn't say anything to anybody, and yet he could, pour it on when he needs to pour it on.
Right, but really laid back guy.
Yeah, so he's pretty much. I mean, everybody else is pretty much what you see is what you get. I mean, Frank Vincent,
Frank
who I was
Vincent's
his
fr-
right-hand man. I mean, Frank brings to the table. He's Frank.
He's Frank, but he's not acting. He's
Right.
Frank being Frank.
Tony Sirico,
All those guys.
I mean,
Right. Paulie Walnuts.
listen, I'm from Brooklyn. They're all Brooklyn guys.
Right.
So they bring that, and Gandolfini, he's such a talented actor, and he's not only, he's very giving also. Like when you're in a scene with him, he wants you to shine. He's not going to try to,
I'll tell you
outdo
again,
and
see,
stuff. So
with me, and again, I have to go back and forth, only because I only go by my experience. I was on the last scene of the day,
yeah, he was probably
and it was like
tired by
16
then.
hours, and he was fucking pissed.
Yeah, so he doesn't want to be bothered.
He don't want to be bothered. So I'm like,
Right.
hey, nice to meet you, Jim.
Right.
He was just like, gave me a dirty look. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, he's done.
I went to do this scene with him. He was pissed. He was getting pissed because they kept cutting. And
Right.
He just wanted to get the fuck out of there. So
Right.
my experience with Gandolfini was a lot different.
Yeah. No, he.
Plus, he didn't really know me,
Right,
He
he's-
goes, "You Steve Savage, right?"
Doo-doo. Nah, he's great, man. He
he's-
like I said, anybody at the end of the day, and at that point, I think that was the last season.
Right.
He was getting tired of doing the show.
Yeah.
He was just like, I need to move on. I'm just, because as an actor, as actors, you'd want to be working, and you'd love to have a steady gig like that, but at the same time,
Well, you
you
know what?
want to play different characters.
that's
you want
true,
to do
but-
different things.
It's
That's
just human nature. I'm sure Derek Jeter wakes up and is like, "Fuck, I got to drive to Yankee Stadium again, fight traffic, hit balls." Everybody he gets complacent.
Yeah, I guess with actors it's a little crazy because basically we want to be kids. We want to play make believe.
I know, but I'm just saying it's human nature. Whatever you're in, no matter how
Yeah,
good,
right.
you're worried about the next
And it's a
thing.
blessing, if you're a working actor, it's the hardest thing in the world. It's just to be working. It's a great thing. So I was blessed to be part of that amazing show for 2 seasons. I thank my lucky stars for that. And,
Now, let's talk about real quick. You probably have one of the top 2, I would say, whacked scenes, which we just saw.
yeah.
Tell us about that.
Yeah, that we shot that. That took about 15 or 16 hours to shoot, and actually, we broke it. The part where my head actually goes into the plate
Right.
was shot on another day in the studio.
Right.
So I still kind of had hopes. I'm like, wow, they didn't put the last bullet in my head, so maybe I'm not really
Right,
gonna be
right,
killed.
right.
So
You were like
for
in
the
denial.
2 weeks that we didn't shoot that scene, I was like, maybe there is still hope. Maybe David Chase will, because he's capable of anything, and it would happen once before. So I
Right.
was like, but I knew it was the last season of the show. So
Was that whacked?
it was
denial?
great. I had 4 different suits,
Right.
and they were all squibbed up.
Right.
And across from me, Stevie Van Sant, who was another great guy. I loved working with Stevie. Very friendly, nice guy. And he's sitting across the table from me. He's like, John, you do realize those squibs are going to be blowing up toward me. He goes, so if you can, try not to, aim them right at me. I said, Steve, I'm taking everybody down at the fucking table with me.
That's funny. Yeah.
I said, if I'm going, everybody's getting fucked up here. And he's like, John, I'm telling you, man, don't do it. So, and it hurt. I cut my hand open falling down at one point because the squibs do hurt. They're like little firecrackers on you. And then you have to time all of that right,
Right.
So even though you have several cameras set up on you, I couldn't see the guy. So they're making the popping, they're making the sounds of the gun going off because, again, the gun wasn't actually being shot.
Right.
I'd have to somewhat watch the stuntman going, okay, it's going to be like 1, 2, 3, 4. And, if you hear the sound and then I go like this, or if I go like that before the sound, it just, fucks up everything. And they had 4 suits, so you got 4 shots to get this perfect.
Right.
And, everybody was pretty happy with it. I was pretty happy
Yeah.
with it.
No, that's one of the biggest. Gets the
My
biggest
mother was
hits
a
on
little
YouTube.
disturbed. She's like, I really thought you were getting killed. I had to call you up to make sure you were okay. And so my line is, now, I look pretty good for a dead guy. So, but it was like I said.
Would you ever dye your hair blonde
It
again?
was an experience. No, absolutely not.
We'll be back in 2 minutes and 2 seconds. We're gonna hang out one more. We have one more segment.
Action. The one, the only.
And your life with Steve Stanulis.
a huge, beautiful crowd tonight, man.
You talking to me?
Yeah, exactly. So, I'll tell you what, though, I'm happy for the people that did come out with
I'm
the
very
weather.
happy with the weather.
The snow.
Yep.
It's supposed to snow afterwards.
Give yourselves a round of applause.
That's right. We actually, Vic Coluccio.
Vic
Who's the
Coluccio.
writer of Summer Sam, lives in who's supposed to be on tonight. He lives in Pennsylvania, and
Yeah.
he gets stuck out
Yeah.
there. So,
Would've been great for him.
No, he'll be back.
He gave me some props too.
He did.
Yeah,
He did.
Very
So
nice
we've
guy.
talked about our days at Chippendales.
Yeah.
We talked about Johnny Rotten.
Johnny Rock.
We've talked about Sopranos getting whacked. And now we have a project we're working on together right now
Yeah.
called Long Shot Louie.
Long Shot Louie.
So I just want you to tell everybody what Long Shot Louie is about.
Well, I mean, you came to me with the idea of this is something I think that you wanted to do years ago.
I did, when I was fucking about 5 years younger, but that's okay.
Something that was just regarding, because we were in the whole dancing world and we know it inside out. I know you wanted to do something like that. So, as I like to mold things and change things around, and that's what I do.
What I
So-
wanted was The Wrestler meets Boogie Nights.
No, that's what I gave you.
Well, maybe I wanted The Wrestler
Don't
meets...
steal my line, Steve.
Wait a minute. Then
That's
I want Raging Bull and a G-string.
Thank you. He
Raging
wanted
Bull and a
Raging-
G-string was what
He
I said.
wanted Raging Bull and a
I
G-string.
want a Raging Bull and a G-string.
And I said it was kind of more like, the wrestler.
Boogie Nights meets The Wrestler.
Yeah, and it's in that world, I always like to say it's a 40-something-year-old ex-Chippendale dancer.
What do you mean
who was strung
40-something?
out.
Wait. What do you mean 40-something years old?
40. I'll make you 37. A 37-year-old something
All right.
dancer
All right,
that's
right.
strung out, and he's had a hard life. And then what I wanted to incorporate was why he is the way he is.
Right.
And that stems from childhood. So I decided to give him the past of being abused by his father.
Mm-hmm.
His father also abused his mother physically.
Right.
And I got to play the father,
Yes.
Frank Lazzaro. And so it flashes back to the late 80s, early 90s to show the beatings and the stuff that he went through and why he turned to drugs and alcohol and why he became the person he became. And throughout that turmoil, he stayed with his high school sweetheart, Alina.
Right.
And they had this, crazy relationship on and off. She was kind of like always trying to ground him, and she stayed with him throughout
Right.
all his trials and tribulations. And then it brings you into today, 2013, and it just kind of takes you on this journey of his life, and
Yeah. And
again, it's a dark story.
And
We're drawn to dark stories.
everything we do is dark.
But I mean it's like real life stuff. So it just, not only do I like to entertain people with the films that I make and we make, but I like to touch people in a way that they could relate to the characters on screen, and either through themselves, or they may know somebody. Like my uncle's like that, my ex-boyfriend's like that. I know a person like that, and it draws you in.
Well, and the cool thing about this film, again, first of all, it's my favorite thing I've ever done.
Mine too.
And we just got accepted to Soho International Film Festival, which is awesome. We'll be screening there.
Yep. Steve Savage and Johnny
Steve
Rotten.
Savage and Johnny Rotten, right? Who, if you told me 20 years ago, I'd still be walking around.
Who
in
would
a
have
G-
thunk it?
I know, but the whole thing is it's a great story, and it's a real New York story.
Yeah, it's a real.
And I like the fact, without giving away the end,
Yeah, don't give
that
away.
it does. No, I know that it doesn't end. I don't want to say happily. It's not your typical Hollywood ending.
Well, yeah. I mean, listen. I love Hollywood films, but you want to still have that grittiness of that independent feel, because that's what people gravitate to, because it's more realistic. It's more for the your everyday man or your everyday person that
Right.
could relate to that type of character.
Right.
And those are the type of characters that I like to write about.
Sure.
Just real people. And I can't say enough about the amazing acting that we had in the film.
Well, thank you. I mean, I really put. You mean the rest of the cast? You mean the rest of the cast?
Well, yeah, and you were okay too, Steve. But,
No, but yeah,
everybody, I mean, you included, everybody did an
Yeah,
amazing
it was
job. There isn't a moment that I didn't believe, and I'm editing it. I'm still tweaking things, but watching it, I could watch it and be totally absorbed into the story and not be like, I just, there's always second choices and second things and that you hate as a filmmaker, but it's like you said, it's definitely it's a good film. It's the best thing I think I've done, and you.
Yeah,
as
I
well,
agree.
so.
I definitely agree. So yeah, and again, I'm curious to see the feedback at Soho.
Yeah.
And hopefully, with this motherfucker sold.
Yeah, that's the goal, man. So we could do all this stuff, but let's get it sold.
Well, that's right.
Let's get it paid.
It's not it's time to get a payday,
Gotta
right?
pay the rent. Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, one more time, let's get up for Mr. John Bianco. We'll be back in 2 minutes, 2 seconds.
Action. The one, the only.
And your life with Steve Stanulis.